more than a journey. When Isabella's grandmother Rosa celebrated her 82nd birthday, everyone expected her to ask for something simple, perhaps a family dinner or a quiet weekend at the seaside. Instead, she smiled and said, "I've waited long enough. I'd like to visit Mexico." The whole family laughed. "You've never mentioned that before," Isabella said. "I've dreamed about it for 40 years, Rosa replied. "I was just waiting for the right moment." A month later, grandmother and granddaughter boarded a plane to Mexico City. Many people looked surprised to see an elderly woman travelling with such confidence. Rosa carried only a small suitcase and walked through the airport with remarkable energy. "You'll need to slow down for me," Isabella joked. Rosa laughed. I was about to say the same thing. Their first stop was the historic centre of Mexico City. They wandered through lively squares where musicians played traditional songs, street artists painted colourful murals, and food stalls filled the air with the delicious smell of freshly made tacos and roasted corn. Rosa stopped every few metres, not because she was tired, because she wanted to admire everything. "This city has so much life," she whispered. The following morning, they visited the ancient city of Teotihuacan. Standing before the enormous Pyramid of the Sun, Isabella looked up in amazement. "It feels impossible that people built this nearly 2,000 years ago." Rosa nodded. Sometimes history is more impressive than imagination. Although they decided not to climb all the way to the top, they slowly explored the archaeological site, listening carefully as their guide explained the history of one of the largest cities in the ancient world. That afternoon, they enjoyed traditional Mexican hot chocolate prepared using an old family recipe. "It tastes completely different from the one we drink in Italy," Isabella said. "That's why we travel," Rosa smiled. "To discover that different doesn't mean better or worse. It simply means different." A few days later, they took a colourful boat through the canals of Xochimilco. Other boats passed by, decorated with bright flowers and cheerful names painted on their sides. Mariachi musicians floated from boat to boat, filling the air with lively music. One musician noticed Rosa quietly singing along. "You know this song?" he asked. "My father loved Mexican music," she replied. Soon everyone on the boat was singing together, even though some only knew part of the lyrics. It became one of those moments that no one had planned but everyone would remember. Their journey continued to Oaxaca. The narrow streets were lined with colourful buildings, artisan workshops and small cafes. In one workshop, they watched a local family create beautiful hand-painted pottery using techniques that had been passed down for generations. The artisan invited Rosa to paint a small ceramic bowl. "I haven't painted since I was a little girl," she admitted. "You haven't forgotten," the artisan smiled. Neither had she. On their final days, they travelled to the Yucatan Peninsula. Early one morning, they visited Chichén Itzá. As the guide described the history of the ancient Maya civilization, Rosa listened with the curiosity of a child discovering a new world. Later that afternoon, they swam in a nearby cenote. Sunlight filtered through the opening above, illuminating the crystal-clear water beneath the limestone cave. "It's like swimming inside nature itself," Isabella said softly. Rosa floated peacefully on the water, smiling towards the opening in the cave ceiling. "I never imagined I'd be doing this at 82. "You never imagined you'd beat me into the water either," Isabella laughed. That evening, they sat on the beach watching the sun disappear beyond the Caribbean Sea. The sky slowly turned orange, pink, and deep purple. After several minutes of silence, Isabella asked, "Grandma, why did you wait 40 years? Rosa looked at the horizon. "Because life always gave me another reason to wait. The children were young. There was work. There were bills. There was always something more important." She smiled gently. "But dreams don't disappear. They simply wait for us." Isabella looked at her grandmother with admiration. "What have you learned from this trip?" Rosa thought for a moment. "That people often believe age closes doors." She shook her head. "It doesn't. Sometimes we close them ourselves." When they returned to Italy, everyone wanted to hear stories about pyramids, cenotes, mariachi bands, and colourful markets. Rosa happily shared them all. But when someone asked what her favourite memory had been, she surprised everyone once again. It wasn't the pyramids. It wasn't the beaches. It wasn't even the cenote. She looked at Isabella and smiled. It was discovering that adventure doesn't belong to young people. It belongs to anyone who is still curious. Months later, the ceramic bowl Rosa had painted in Oaxaca stood proudly on a shelf in her living room. Whenever someone admired it, she simply smiled. "It reminds me," she would say, "that it's never too late to discover another corner of the world."
If you enjoyed this story, there's much more waiting for you. Short Travel Stories in English, Volume 2, available on Amazon, includes 7 original travel stories specially written for B1, B2 learners. Inside, you'll find vocabulary in context, collocations, grammar practice, reading comprehension exercises, activities with answer key, and authentic cultural insights to help you build your English with confidence. Start your next journey today.